9 phrases that make your soul age faster and how to regain energy for life. Have you ever realized that some of the words you say every day, though they sound harmless, quietly steal the joy from your heart? It isn't the wrinkles that make us grow old. It's the phrases we whisper to ourselves again and again. I used to think age was what made people weaker. But now I see, it's our words that make the soul age before its time. Some people smile every day, yet inside, they repeat, "It's okay, it doesn't matter. At this age, what can I still do? No one really needs me anymore." They sound gentle, but they make us retreat inward and start believing that happiness is something out of reach. Words can heal, but they can also wither. A kind sentence can save a heavy day, while a careless one can take away your sense of meaning. I made this video not to teach, but to reflect with you on how just changing the way we speak can quietly change the way we live. And as always, if this story touches your heart, please leave a like, subscribe, and share this video. Your small gesture is a great motivation for me to keep telling gentle stories for souls that still want to stay young. 1. It's fine, don't bother. I've heard so many people say this, "It's fine, don't bother." It sounds gentle, like a breeze, but carries a quiet sadness. Sometimes, it's how we hide from care, a shield to cover the desires of our heart. I remember once, a friend of my mother's refused a birthday cake her son brought home. She smiled softly and said, "It's fine, don't bother, I'll eat anything." But after he left, she sat silently for a long time, gazing at the untouched cake still in its box. I realized she didn't refuse it because she didn't want it. She was afraid her son was too busy, afraid to be a burden, afraid to be seen as demanding. As we grow old, we start giving up everything. The best pieces of food, the small joys, even the right to be cared for. But the more we say, "It's fine, don't bother," the more invisible we become. Because the world can't read our hearts if we stay silent. So next time someone asks what you'd like to eat, where you'd like to go, don't be afraid, speak honestly. Honesty doesn't make you troublesome. It makes you seen. And sometimes, just saying, "Yes, I'd love that," opens a tiny door to happiness for your own heart. 2. At my age, what can I still do? At first, it sounds like acceptance of reality. But it's actually a quiet surrender. I used to say it too. When I noticed I reacted slower, remembered less, and thought, maybe it's just age, what else can I do? Then one morning, I saw my 80-year-old neighbor bending over, learning to use a smartphone to video call his granddaughter. He smiled and said, "I have to learn, or she'll forget my face." That moment made me ashamed. Age doesn't limit ability. It limits belief. Someone at 70 can learn to paint. Someone at 80 can still sing, play music, and learn to love themselves again. Old age isn't the end. It's just a slower verse in the song of life. When we stop believing, we lock the door from the inside. But if you change the words just a little, "At this age, I can still try," you'll feel your body lighten and your soul brighten like a new morning. 3. I'm too weak now. I've heard myself say this many times. Every time the stairs made me breathless. Every time my back ached with the weather. I'd sigh, "I'm too weak now." But I forgot one thing. Every word plants a command in the mind. When we say "I'm weak," the body listens, and the spirit believes. Our legs grow heavier, and our eyes lose their sparkle. One day, I decided to change the sentence. I said, "I need to slow down a little, but I can still do it." Just a few different words. And suddenly, I felt lighter. I no longer saw myself as frail or helpless. Just someone living differently, more gently. Strength isn't about running fast or doing more. It's about not giving up on yourself. If you're tired today, rest. But don't call yourself weak. as long as you still want to try again. You're stronger than most people think. 4. I'm bothering others. This is one of the saddest things I've heard older people say. Because it isn't just a sentence. It's a sigh from those who've spent a lifetime being independent, used to enduring everything alone. I have an aunt, almost 80, living with her only son. She hated calling or asking for help. Until one day, she slipped in the bathroom. Her son found out and cried, saying, "I wish you'd called me sooner. You could never bother me, Mom." I'll never forget that moment. When we age, we fear becoming a burden. But the truth is, when we ask someone for help, we're giving them a chance to love us. Love isn't just about giving. It's also about receiving. So next time you need something, call, speak up. Don't apologize, don't be afraid to ask. Because in those moments when we need each other, we finally touch the real meaning of the word family. 5. I used to say that a lot. I used to be strong. I used to be good at my job. But the more I said it, the emptier I felt. Because I was living in the used to and stopped seeing the now. I once met a man who used to be a marathon runner. After an injury, he couldn't run anymore. Every time we met, he said, "I used to win city races, now I'm nothing." Then one day, he started walking slowly around the lake. Every single morning. A year later, he smiled and said, "I don't need to beat anyone now. I just need to beat my own laziness." That day, I understood. The strength of the present doesn't come from what we were, but from how we see ourselves today. Instead of "I used to," try saying, "Now I enjoy." Or "Today, I'm learning how to." Because every day we're alive is a new chance to begin again. Slowly, quietly, but still a beginning. 6. What's the point of trying? There was a time I said this a lot. When things didn't go my way, I comforted myself. What's the point of trying? It sounded like acceptance, but it was really surrender. Some days, everything felt meaningless. Cleaning the house, watering plants, exercising. Even making a cup of tea felt heavy. I'd think, why bother? No one notices anyway. Then one morning, I saw my elderly neighbor watering little pots of flowers on her porch. I asked, "Why plant so many?" She smiled, "So I have a reason to step outside every morning. And something waiting for me to come back." I was speechless. That day, I learned. It's not whether what we do is useful or not. It's that it reminds us we're still alive. Every small act is a thread tying us to the world. When we stop doing, we stop feeling. And when we stop feeling, we stop living. So don't say, "What's the point?" Say instead, "I'm trying, because I'm still here." Every action, no matter how small, is your way of telling life, "I still exist." 7. Nobody cares anymore. I've heard this sentence in the sad eyes of many people. When calls become fewer, messages stop coming. We easily think we've been forgotten. I've been there too. Sitting in a quiet room, watching the phone stay still, and whispering, "No one remembers me anymore." But then I realized, love isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's a cake left by the door, a goodnight text, or a neighbor asking, "How are you today?" Love is still there. We've just stopped opening our hearts to feel it. When we believe no one cares, we start to shrink, and unknowingly make others hesitate to approach. But if we reach out, send a message first, ask first, connection returns, like a small light flickering on in a dark room. I've learned this. The world doesn't forget anyone. Sometimes we're just silent for too long. And sometimes, to be loved, we only need to take one small step forward. 8. I'm just lucky. It sounds humble, but it's a quiet way of denying yourself. I used to say this whenever someone praised me. For being positive, for staying healthy and happy. I'm just lucky, I'd laugh. But deep down, I felt smaller each time. Once, I said that to an older friend. He looked at me and said, "No, you're not just lucky. You chose to live this way. You chose to step into the sun instead of sitting forever in the shade." I was silent for a long while. Since then, I've learned to accept compliments with peace. When someone says I look healthy, I answer, "Thank you, I keep up my morning walks." When someone says I'm positive, I say, "I practice gratitude every day." It's not boasting. It's acknowledging your own effort. Luck may start the journey, but patience and daily choices keep you walking with peace. So don't be too modest. Be grateful, yes, but also proud of everything you've overcome. 9. It's too late now. I used to think there were things that, at this age, it's too late for. Too late to start, too late to learn, too late to love, too late to forgive. But time has taught me, as long as we breathe, as long as we want, it's never too late. I remember an old man I knew, 84 years old, learning to play guitar. His hands trembled, his strings buzzed, but he practiced patiently every day. He said, "I'm not learning to be good. I'm learning to remind myself I still can." That touched me deeply. We think aging is an ending, but it's really just another chapter in a long book. If today there's something you still want to do, even something small, write that unsent letter, plant a tree, or simply learn to use your new phone. Start. Because life isn't measured by age, but by how many times we dare to begin again. Don't let the words "too late" close the door in front of you when your hands are still strong enough to open it. Ending. I've always believed that words are like water. Wherever you pour them, that's where life will grow. If you water yourself with words of resignation, you'll wither. But if you water yourself with gratitude and faith, you'll blossom in peace. Some people grow old too quickly because they keep speaking words that dry up their souls. And some, though their hair is silver, still shine like the morning sun because they've learned to choose words that soothe their own hearts before soothing others. Every morning, I stand before the mirror and whisper, "Today, I am still enough. I am still worthy of love. I can still begin again." I don't say it to prove anything, but to remind myself life is still waiting for me to walk forward. Age doesn't make us weak. It's the words we repeat every day that make us weary. So speak to yourself gently, because sometimes a single kind word can save an entire day.